Hey, welcome to Travel Tuesday Happy Hour, where we interview dope people doing dope things with one thing in common, the love for travel. We have a great guest lined up. Grab a drink, stay tuned. What's going on, travel fam? If you ever thought about starting a podcast, check out Anchor. Anchor is free. Anchor will provide you tools to record and edit your podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast to multiple streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Everything you need right in one app. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Next, she was on another boat. So what's up? Tell us who you are and what do you do?
So I'm Lauren, better known as Bello, because I don't really, go by my first name because there's a million Laurens out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a registered nurse.
Oh, wow. Fun times right now, huh?
Yeah, it's a little rough out here, but I'm making it through.
Okay. So what got you into traveling?
So I started traveling as a child. Traveling was instilled back to my grandmother. My grandmother flew all over the world. So when I was 5, we first went to Disney. And after that, we would do road trips all over the United States. And ultimately, our first trip out of the country was to Mexico. So.
That's dope. So what has you traveling now as an adult? Because, before it was decided for you. Now that you get to make your own decisions, what excites you when you get that travel deal alert,
I'm trying to travel every other month, okay? I have a stressful career, and traveling is legit my way of relaxing. I get to immerse myself in culture, get a nice tan, because this, not a tan, not here for it. And just chill out with friends, make new friends. So I love to travel. Been trying to do it as much as I can.
Oh, that's what's up. So, the hot topic, right? The next question is, how's COVID-19, Corona/Rona kind of like impacted your life, not just travel, but personal? And as a registered nurse, this is going to be fun.
Oh boy. All right. So where do I start? One, I was in New York when COVID-19 first started. When they first started getting cases in New York, my grandmother was in the hospital. So I was there for about 5 or 6 days with her at the bedside. And then after that was all said and done, I came back, went to work, and just kept doing my thing. Now, I don't work in a hospital. I work in a surgery center. I used to work in the hospital, work in same-day surgery in the PACU, and I also used to do surgical ICU. I left that life for a reason, right? Here I am, still working as a registered nurse, doing elective surgeries during a pandemic.
Oh, wow.
And it's a little rough. Honestly, I'm quarantined right now, and I was tested for COVID yesterday.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long are you quarantined for till you actually have to go back to work?
I am officially off work until the 24th, and I should get my results in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Okay. So as far as like outside of work, personal life, right? Did you have any travel plans that were kind of canceled, postponed,
I've
during?
canceled 3 trips. 3.
What? Where were you going?
I was supposed to be in Atlanta last weekend for a couple of my guy friends. They have a podcast. They were doing a live podcast taping, so we all were just kind of bummed out that we weren't able to get together last weekend. Next month, I was supposed to be in Jordan and Israel with a good friend of ours, said, and that's canceled. I actually called United last night to get my full refund. So if you guys have any trips, Department of Transportation is telling you can get a full refund. Just mention that on the call, because otherwise they will try to give you a voucher, and I wasn't going for a voucher. And then, of course, I was supposed to be going to Jamaica in June for a family trip. And that also is canceled because my aunt is a physician and they're not allowed to travel.
Wow, that's crazy. So can you elaborate on that aspect? Because I don't think a lot of people know that.
So I am also not allowed to travel right now because I'm pseudo essential. I'm not on the front line, but I'm like second tier. So God forbid they lose staff at the hospital, we will be mandated to go work at the hospital. A lot of different states that are like the epicenters, like New York, Connecticut, so on and so forth, and soon to be DC, from what they tell us, the DMV area, we're not allowed to travel. So they told us if we do travel, it can't be to an epicenter area. We have to get permission to travel, and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of grounded until further notice.
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah.
And that's even going to be beyond the point of which, okay, well, government's opened it up for businesses to start back up. You guys got to just keep going and going and going until they're like, all right, well, you guys are good. But the thing is, at the same time, like, you're quarantined now and you're expected to hopefully go back after you're quarantined and re-expose yourself possibly, you know. That's crazy, you know, and they're expecting you to do this with, you know, hey, this is the profession you chose.
I would be okay if we had the proper PPE, but we don't. I provided myself with my own N95 mask that was donated to us by outside source. Like, my surgery center didn't have the equipment. So I was probably exposed prior to, because I didn't start wearing my N95 until last Thursday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So how, you know, I mean, I'm not sure if you're allowed to talk, because I know hospitals been talking about firing people that speak, right, outwardly. So enough that doesn't necessarily get you in trouble. Like, what, because I still think a lot of people don't know the severity of what's going on. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm willing to give you some extra time to really kind of talk to it, because, you know, some people are just, there's so much noise going out, right? So, you know, nobody really knows what to, like I said, whatever you can say without getting yourself in trouble. But, you know,
I'm going to say stay at home.
Okay,
Everybody stay at home. Stop having your gatherings. Go to the grocery store once a week, once a month, whatever it might be. Don't think just because you're staying at home that other people are. So if you're going to go to a friend's house, don't. Stay at home. Everybody's losing family members. Everyone's losing coworkers, and it's something that is avoidable. If you guys want the country to open back up, which we all do, we don't want to be home. We're tired. This is our generation. We don't want to do this. We want to travel the world, right? We have to comply. And that's the hardest part of this. We have so many extroverts that are like, this is not for me. I have to be outside. And then you have these introverts that are like, oh, it's not that bad. But you know what? I would like to be outside one of these days. You know, get on Zoom, get on House Party, get on FaceTime, immerse yourself with your friends, contact your family, talk to them. I mean, I had Easter Sunday dinner with my family on FaceTime.
Hey.
That was the best I can do, you know? They're chowing down, I'm chowing down, and it was on FaceTime. It sucks that I couldn't be there, but at the same time, you gotta do what's best. I'm not gonna sit here and drive from where I am in Virginia to New York to be with my family when I already know that I'm not feeling great. And there are some people that are asymptomatic, meaning they show no symptoms and can be a carrier of it. That's the scariest part. Because I personally, I don't know who or how I got exposed. I have thoughts and ideas, but I don't have anything concrete. And in terms of work, they basically said that we have adequate PPE and that we don't have to shut down. So my coworkers are not being quarantined, although I possibly may have it.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. And, you know, do you think, and just from your opinion, do you think there will be lessons learned here, or this will be something that could potentially occur again?
In terms of my facility or the United States?
Let's not get you in trouble. Let's talk about in the macro concept of it.
I would hope that this would be a lesson learned. But given the administration that we have and the arrogance and the, you know, sense of entitlement, I don't really know how it's going to go. You know, I can pray, hope, wish for the best. I really don't see this getting better anytime soon. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like halfway through the summer.
Oh man, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so.
I mean, I have a flight booked for July.
Okay.
But I don't know if I'm going to be able to go. I mean, it's just the state of the world is in so much disarray and so much confusion. It's scary. And we have each other, which is why when you're like, hey, LB, do you want to come on? Absolutely. I mean, why not? If I can help with anything,
definitely.
That's what I'm here
Yeah,
for.
definitely. I appreciate because, we got a perspective during our last session about how teachers are impacted, right? Our little ones from pre-K to kindergartens to, even college. And, kind of just her talking about how this is really having a huge impact and changing the landscape of education. Um, I know you do surgeries or you assist with surgeries. Um, how do you see this changing the landscape of the the medical profession as well? Because my dad has to do his primary care was doing, so we need to renew his prescriptions. They're like, yeah, uh, we can do a teleconference so that we can, check you. And I'm like, bro, don't you have to do like a series of things? How do you think this is going to change? Because I think this is something that I think has been trickling into the industry, but there's been a heavy, there's inconsistencies on how people do it. So, how do you think this is now going to change into more of a formatted way, if anything?
So telehealth, that's how I had my screening. My PCP was like, I'm going to do a telehealth appointment with you at 9 a.m. on this day, this time. So I did it just like this. And she's like, okay, well, I'll put the order in, but if your symptoms get worse, then I want you to go get tested. If not, we know you're probably positive because of your line of work. Cool. I think that telehealth is great because you might have those patients that have a lot of comorbidities and even mobility aspects where they can't get around and it's hard for them to move. So if they have a loved one or a nursing aide at home that can literally get a phone or iPad, computer, whatever it is, up for them to do a telehealth appointment so they don't have to get out the house, why not? I also think that this shows that hospitals can streamline patients a lot easier and a lot faster. You keep hearing on the news that the hospitals are empty. The hospitals are empty because people are not using the emergency rooms as doctor's appointments or doctor's visits. They're actually going to emergency rooms as it's intended to be used for emergencies, And I mean, for the longest time, you would see people going to the emergency room for an earache. There's urgent care for that. There are doctor's offices for that. Or I have a toothache. Cool. But lack of resources, lack of education is a big part of it, So hopefully with this will guide people in the right direction or even give them some sort of education that these resources are available. So utilize it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I appreciate that because I mean, that's something that has been passed up a long time, because the technology's always been here. I'm a huge advocate for the technology, but just to make sure it's properly implemented. You know what I mean? Let's shift gears a little bit because it's been a little, COVID centric. And only because I wanted to make sure that we got at least somebody that's in the field talking about what's going on and can provide not the Facebook jargon and the meme jargon, somebody that's actually going through the experience and can talk to it wisely. Shifting gears, as far as travel, right? Like, what would you give a up and coming traveler advice? What tips would you give them to kind of get things started? Or, if they are already doing it, what are some of your go-tos to travel?
One, just do it. Honestly, if you keep saying, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, you're never going to do it. Book the flight, take the trip, whether it's alone or with people. Utilize your resources. There are lots and lots of travel influencers that are willing to give you advice on traveling. They're willing to take you underneath their wing, but you can't be afraid to reach out, I mean, I've traveled with friends. I've traveled with strangers. And I mean, I've traveled to cities alone to visit friends. I've traveled to Aruba alone. I mean, sometimes you just gotta do it. You just gotta, I mean, I've been afraid to go to like Europe or things of that nature alone. But the islands, I'm like, respect the culture, introduce yourself, ask questions, and go for it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you. I would ask you what you got coming up, but you're quarantined for a minute. uh,
What I have coming up
so
is getting rid of my fever.
there you go. There you go. Take care of yourself, please. I hope you get better. Let me know that you're good. You know what I mean? And once again, I really appreciate you for jumping on. And
Always.
you know, even quarantine, you decided to jump on, so I appreciate it. All right.
Yeah.
All right. You have a
Thank
good
you.
one.
All
All
right.
right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Another dope conversation. Keep traveling and stay safe. Until next time, peace.